is going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 29 of the Totally Unqualified podcast. We can't believe we're still getting up here to 29, going to be 30 pretty soon. Before you know it, it's getting crazy. I am, of course, joined by my two lovely co-hosts, Gage Hall, Jake Maltese. How are we doing today, boys?
I'm doing great. I'm back. Finally, I missed out on the last episode.
Little hiatus.
Sorry, guys. Had to take a little break. But the wedding went well. I had a good time. Once I got there, anyway, when I flew out on Thursday, I missed my flight in the morning. Well, it was delayed, actually. The flight was delayed due to maintenance issues or something like that. So I had to wait 3 hours in the Nashville airport. And then I flew. That sounds like fun. And then I flew to my connecting flight in Atlanta, where I had to wait another 3 hours and then fly to North Carolina. So, but I made it there. It was good. I'm glad to be back. Not a great time flying, though.
My gosh, jeez.
You give it a take.
Yeah, that's a rough weekend, but you know what? You're back here now. We missed you dearly.
We did.
And I'm ready to talk some ball, boys. This is I'm primed for this. I've been waiting for this all day.
Absolutely. And we got a great show for you guys today. We're going to be talking about some of the greatest games from week 7, followed by, we're going to be talking about the scariest players to go up against, as well as the scariest head coaches to go up against, because we're getting towards Halloween here. We got like 5 days left as we're recording this on the 26th. So it's getting close. And then after that, we're going to be previewing this Thursday night football game between the absolutely loaded Green Bay Packers and the undefeated Arizona Cardinals. Boo-hoo. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave us a review and a rating. We would greatly appreciate that. And if you're watching us on YouTube, I know you love seeing our pretty faces. Make sure to leave us a like and subscribe, turn on post notifications, all that jazz. All right. We start every episode off with a Guess That Player. And I told you boys before we start recording, it's a little bit unfair. Yeah. All right. I'm going to have you guys ask me the questions. You guys could go back and forth, sort of how Gage did it on his last one. And if things get rough, I'll pull out the stats. But even then, I don't know if those will help you that much.
Okay.
All right.
I guess
I'll
start
NFL? Oh, is it NFL or NBA?
Oh, it's NFL. NFL.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess I'll start off with something pretty broad. AFC or NFC?
NFC.
Okay.
Why did you hesitate there? Why was there that? Oh, man.
Why is that your question?
Oh, man. Are they still currently playing?
No.
That's why.
That's why it's hard.
All right.
I mean, listen, we're getting towards Halloween. We need to start getting these spooky players. This is the one spooky player to go up against. I'll give you that.
Did you say AFC?
NFC.
NFC. Shit.
Are they in the Hall of Fame?
No.
Okay.
My mind, you saying spooky players, my mind immediately went to OJ Simpson and Aaron Hernandez, but we're not talking like that kind of spooky, are we?
No, they're not as good as those players. Let's leave it at that.
Okay. All right. So NFC, they're not as good as that player. Oh man. All right. Is it oh my God. Did they retire in the last 10 years?
Not so much retired. They just couldn't make a team following the 2004 season. Also, the 2004 season is the only season that they played.
Oh, is it Brock Lesnar?
It's Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
How did you get that? How did you? Oh man! Wow.
I'm too good. Too good.
That's honestly your best work yet, Jake.
I'm not even not getting it.
That's crazy. That's crazy. He's recorded one solo tackle in his NFL career.
Yeah. I just know that because there's like a one time per year or during the preseason, pretty much every year, the NFL just like pushes out, just milks the fact that Brock Lesnar played in the NFL for a period of time. And like, so I don't know. Everything just clicked in my head really quickly there. And I was going. I think I took the lead with that now.
You might have.
I think I did. I think it's 13-12-3. Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
All right.
Wow. Come on, Gage. We needed you there.
Fucking Brock Lesnar.
Played all of 3 preseason games, boys.
Yes.
Wow. All of 3.
Should have known.
Yeah, great prospect there. The hints that I were gonna give were gonna be non-football related, all his championships outside of football and whatnot. So wow, I can't believe you got that. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Moving on, let's get into some of the best games from week 7. And of course, we're gonna start off with the game between you guys. And you guys had a little wager going into this game.
Did.
You had a little wager. You know what, Jake? Why don't you start us off? What'd you see out of the Seahawks Saints game?
Yeah, I just want to say, I love how people just went on my TikTok after that and like just all started commenting Saints won, like I wasn't watching the game. I think somebody today, like the day after, commented like Saints won, by the way. Oh, thank you for that. I didn't know. Yeah, so I just figured, I had this idea. I was driving back from classes yesterday. I was like, we put a wager on this. I was feeling confident in Geno. I was like, there's no way in hell Geno Smith loses 3 games in a row. It's just not going to happen. So I was feeling confident, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do something fun for this. So I came up with the idea, put out the video, told Gage. Gage was a good sport. He was all for it. It was a tough game, man. I was glued to my TV. It could have gone either way.
Tough game to watch.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. It was ugly. It was probably the ugliest game to ever have a wager on. Because I was just like freaking out the entire time. But it ultimately comes down to that the Seahawks cannot move the ball without Russell Wilson. That's the ultimate thing I got out of it. Pete Carroll had a quote after the game that he wouldn't be here this long if it wasn't for Russ. And that has never been more evident than just watching this Seahawks, not only offense, but just team try to operate without their leader, without their Hall of Fame quarterback. It's rough to watch. It's sad to watch. This is the worst team I've seen from my Seahawks in my time since watching football. But I'm used to shitty teams. Penn State just lost to Illinois. So it's nothing I'm not used to.
Gotta love
but
Big Ten.
Yeah, Big Ten's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you know what? It's going into rebuilding time for the Seahawks. That's ultimately what I've gotten out of this. The one bright thing I can say about this game is the Seahawks defense looks a lot better than they have looked over the last couple weeks. They really made some good stops. Jordan Brooks looks phenomenal. I mean, this guy had all the talent in the world coming out of Texas Tech. He was our first round pick. We had notoriously whiffed on first round picks for the last feels like a decade. And Jordan Brooks seems to have ended that streak. He looks awesome. What better player to be mentored by than Bobby Wagner? He had a couple big tackles, one big stop in the end zone for the Seahawks in this game. Trey Brown, who's a rookie corner that we drafted in the 6th round, was injured for the first couple of games this season, has come in the past 2 games, really turned around that secondary. He's played really good football. Sidney Jones has played good football as well. The release of Trey Flowers. What do you know? When you release Trey Flowers, secondary starts playing better. What a concept. The defense was the only positive I got out of this game. The fact that they have been playing better the last couple of weeks. The offense, you just can't operate. There's no Geno Smith can't make the throws. He's taking terrible sacks, like awful sacks. Okay. I don't care that he hasn't played for a while. He's a veteran in this league. He should know that you need to get rid of the ball when you're in borderline field goal territory and it's windy as hell and rain's coming down. You got to get rid of the ball. Like, I don't care if you're trying to make a play. You're not Russell Wilson. Yeah. Can you run a little bit? Sure. But you're not Russell Wilson. You're not a magician like he is. Okay. You're not making these great escapes. You're going to get taken down. Saints, I mean, no offense, Gage, but the Saints didn't really impress me either. Marshawn Lattimore and DK were jawing at each other all game. DK got him on the first play of the game. He was definitely in Marshawn Lattimore's head. I could just tell you that. I can't even count the amount of personal fouls that were in this game. Alvin Kamara, was doing Alvin Kamara things. We kind of stopped him in the second half, but we needed to put 2 linebackers on him to stop him from just completely eating up our defense. But yeah, this was an ugly game between 2. I don't want to say the Saints are rebuilding, but kind of just retooling teams that are not in the best of circumstances. And Jameis played all right, but it was an ugly game at that.
going to start with the good for us because, I mean, you guys heard a lot of the bad, but I'll get into that after. As far as the good for us, our defense looks really, really good. It continues to look really, really good. Our running defense is second best in the league, only behind the Buccanereous right now. Demario Davis. He's an animal.
Oh,
he's
shit.
Fantastic.
I was having nightmares of Demario Davis after that game. It just seemed like he knew where the ball was going. Like every time they handed it off, he knew exactly the gap, and he was there before the running back even got the ball.
Yep.
Like our center, Kyle Fuller, not the defensive back, Kyle Fuller, Kyle Fuller, that's trash. He is going to have nightmares about Demario Davis for the next couple of weeks. Like he was just getting embarrassed by Demario Davis that entire game.
Yeah, Demario Davis looks really good. Marshawn Lattimore obviously allows that touchdown, that long touchdown for DK Metcalf after slipping early in the game. I think it went for 86 yards or something like that.
I think it was like 84.
84,
something along those lines. And then after that, DK Metcalf still didn't reach 100 yards receiving. So, we stepped up as far as defense goes. As far as the offense goes, holy shit, why are we so bad? Why are we so bad? We need a receiver so fucking bad that it hurts. Our wide receiver 1 is at best on another team a wide receiver 3. We might legitimately have the worst receiving group in the NFL right now. Like the only other team that I can
Lions.
I was going to say maybe the Lions, but even Khalif Raymond is going for he went for 100 yards in a game the other day. So it's like we don't have, our leading receiver was Alvin Kamara with over 100 yards. After that, second was Adam Troutman, our tight end, with 3 receptions for 36 yards, and he fucking fumbled too. So we need some weapons. We need Michael Thomas back, and I am fully willing to make a trade for a receiver. We need somebody bad. I'm looking at guys like Odell. I'm looking at guys like maybe Allen Robinson. I mean, the Bears need O-line. We have some O-linemen that we could potentially give away. I don't know. Maybe a reunion with Brandon Cooks. I would love that. So definitely something to look into. Our team is decent enough. We're 4-2 with the receiving core that we have, with the lack of weapons that we have. We've had a bunch of players injured that are now starting to come back. So I like the future, but right now I'm really scared, especially to face the Buccaneers next week.
I think the Saints with Michael Thomas coming back healthy and Brandon Cooks as like their slot receiver would be absolutely lethal.
Yes.
This game sucks. This game absolutely sucked.
It was really bad.
I think the biggest takeaway I have was I know the Saints only recorded 5 sacks, but it seemed like so much more than that. Every single play, there was pressure on Geno Smith. He took 2 sacks in a row towards the end of the game there, which as a veteran quarterback, you can't do. You can't let that happen. Throw the ball away. Just maybe throw the ball away.
Yeah, and the waste of timeouts too, just because he didn't like what he saw. He knew that we were going to come through and couldn't check out of it. Just bad.
Yeah, and it's kind of just the ineptitude of this Seahawks offense. I'm not a huge proponent. I'm not a huge advocate for Cam Newton right now. I think there's a reason he's not on an NFL team and he got cut by the Patriots before the season started. But if you're getting this production out of Geno Smith, you got to give up Cam Newton a call. You got to give him a call because at least maybe he would make your offense better. Maybe he adds a little bit of a unique running style for that team that just can't, ever seem to develop a running back after Marshawn Lynch. Everybody's either hurt or just not playing well. So yeah, it's the Seahawks they're in for some bad times without Russ the next couple weeks. As for the Saints, their defense did look outstanding. Like you guys said, Demario Davis was everywhere tonight. One of my buddies actually in my house, he needed a Saints pick 6 at the end of the game there to win his fantasy game. And Demario Davis dropped the pick 6. And that was a crazy ending. Actually, funny enough, Nate LaJoey, if you don't follow him, make sure to go check him out on TikTok. I beat him by 0.8 points in our TikTok fantasy league, which was awesome, or 0.08 points because Traquan Smith didn't want to do jack shit for that team, which I'm okay with. I'm absolutely okay with. Yeah, just a terrible game overall. Terrible game to watch if you don't have any betting interests in it or it's not one of your teams. It sucked. And you know what? It was a great night to turn on that Manning cast on ESPN2.
Yeah, it was
with
great.
with Brady. That they keep getting better and better by the week. Like it's crazy.
Marshawn Lynch kept cussing.
Yeah, he said took 3 heady shots before he went on, which is just the most Marshawn Lynch thing ever. So it gives you even more reason to go check that out. Especially with the guests. There's no reason to watch the regular ESPN broadcast now.
Yeah, if there's one thing that you can take away from the game, it's that Jake is going to look great in the black and gold.
Oh,
cannot wait for this.
I think I'm gonna make it into a whole kind of segment kind of thing. Like obviously it's gonna be shameful, but I think I'm gonna bring my microphone, maybe talk to some people on the street who have something to say. Get the podcast name out there to some people. I figure if I'm embarrassing myself, might as well get the name out there, bring some awareness to this podcast. But it'll be fun. I'm a good sport. I'm gonna do it.
All right, Jake, I'm fully expecting to do something for this Packers Seahawks game in a few weeks now.
Oh, right? I know. And Gage is going to be the one that's there.
Mm-hmm.
Gage is going to be the one man.
It all works out, doesn't it?
We gotta, we'll have something cooked up. We'll have a little wager cooked up for that one.
Yeah, no doubt. And moving on to our next game here, guys. The Cincinnati Bengals they currently are the best team in the AFC. They locked up the number 1 seed through, 7 weeks now. They are 5-2 as they blew out the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore, which yours truly, of course, predicted. Not a blowout, though. Did not predict that. Gage, what are your takeaways from this game?
I thought that it could be a potential back and forth, or the Bengals have a shot for sure because they've looked really good up to this point. But I did choose the Ravens in this one just because every time I've picked against the Ravens so far this year, they've gone and proven me wrong.
Yeah.
But here we are. They prove me wrong again when I actually go for them. The Bengals look very, very good. Their defense, I feel like, has been pretty underrated up to this point. Mm-hmm. We've talked about it a few times, how good they've actually looked. They don't have any major, really big names or anything like that, but they've got a lot of solid pieces pretty much all over the place. Von Bell, Larry Ogunjobi, they got Trey Hendrickson from us in the offseason, and he's looked really good for them thus far. He's showing that his production wasn't just from Cam Jordan being on the other side. He looks really good for them. And then the offense. Joe Burrow is for real. Joe Burrow is accurate. Joe Burrow has his favorite weapon in Jamar Chase, and he is using him to the fullest extent. It's going to be hard to stop the Bengals going forward. That's for sure.
Yeah. The biggest takeaway I got out of this game is Jamar Chase is making a fool out of everybody who thought preseason fucking mattered. Listen,
pace for 1,800 yards.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh my God. Because it just didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to me how he was doing this in the preseason. Anybody that watched Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson in college, Jamar Chase was the by far number 1 receiver on that team. Justin Jefferson was the clear cut number 2. It was not even a conversation. And then you see Justin Jefferson have this huge rookie year. I think the most receiving yards ever by a rookie. I'm pretty sure. I think he had 1,500 yards. I'm like, all right, that just sets the bar even higher for Jamar Chase coming in. Now he sat out a year of football, which I think a lot of people were forgetting with Jamar Chase, because everybody's like, oh, he's this good. Why is he dropping all this? But he sat out an entire year. Yes, he's doing training in the offseason, but also he hadn't caught from Joe Burrow since, his senior year at LSU. So there's that. You got to get used to there's different than just training on your own and actually being in training camp full speed with a bunch of other NFL guys. It's a different environment. And also getting adjusted to the NFL as a rookie too, to add on top of that. So it just didn't make sense to me. And that he shut everybody the hell up with his performance over these last couple of weeks. And he is the receiver that we all thought he was coming out of LSU. He is definitely going to win rookie of the year at this point. Mac Jones is the only other person that's putting him a fight.
Much. Maybe Najee Harris, outside chance.
Maybe Najee Harris, but Najee Harris is really, I don't know if he's had, I don't even know if he's had a great rushing game yet. It's really only been from fantasy. I feel like Najee Harris is a classic case of he's putting up a bunch of fantasy points, so he must be doing great on the field, but he's just putting up a bunch of fantasy points because Big Ben can't throw deep anymore. So he's just dumping it off to him every play. But yeah, the Bengals look phenomenal to, tie back into what I was getting at. Bengals look phenomenal. If you would have told me at the beginning of this year that the Bengals would be that the Bengals would be the number 1 seed in the AFC North at this point, and the Chiefs would be bottom of the AFC West, I would have told you were fucking nuts and you were in some parallel universe. But that is the NFL for you. That is any given Sunday exemplified. We never know what is going to happen going into a season. All of these analysts can say whatever they want. We could say whatever we want, but at least we tell you with the title of the podcast that we don't know what the fuck we're talking about. You just don't know, and that's the amazing thing about football. But for the Ravens, I'm sure they'll bounce back. They're a good enough team. They've earned the right to have a stinker of a game.
I'm excited for their next game. I'm not sure when it is, but I'm excited to see the Ravens try and bounce back. Now, when everything is clicking on all cylinders, this Bengals offense is the most lethal in the entire NFL. I don't want to hear the Chiefs. I don't want to hear the Cardinals. I don't want to hear the Packers. I don't want to hear any of it. The Bengals are that team. All right. You look, they have 3 number 1 wide receivers on their team. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd, who's had 1,000-yard seasons like the past 3 years. Joe Mixon is, I think, a top 10 running back in the league right now. I think it's safe to say. And Samaje Perine is a great change of pace back. Mixed with that, you have CJ Uzama going off for 2 touchdowns on 2 nice shifty little side steps there, which is just, complimentary to say the least. Like, this team is clicking on all cylinders right now. And defensively, Trey Hendrickson might be the most impactful free agent this season. All right. He might not be the most flashy player. He might not record, all the sacks in the world, but just in terms of pressures, just in terms of what he's brought to this front seven is something that we haven't seen in a while. Probably not since maybe Geno Atkins, but Geno Atkins is far beyond the player that
Carlos Dunlap too.
Carlos Dunlap. Yep. Yeah. How's he doing for the Seahawks this year?
He played a lot better in this game against the Saints. He had a couple of nice tackles at the line of scrimmage, stuff in the run. He's been kind of a non-factor before that. He is getting up there in age, but this whole defense as a whole, when there's nobody else doing anything on the defensive line, it's kind of hard for Dunlap to do anything.
Makes him look sort of, worse than he is. But that was a good pickup last season at the end there. Yeah. This Bengals team is legit. We need to start giving them more respect. For the Ravens, I think my biggest takeaway is Marlon Humphrey's having a down year. And I don't know whether it's because, he's just having a down year, or maybe it's because Marcus Peters isn't beside him. So he's getting the number 1s all the time. But Marlon Humphrey has been not playing up to par, giving up a lot of yards. Jamar Chase had 201 yards on his dome. And he had the nice little spin move there. He just hasn't been able to keep up with receivers that well this season. And I said it a couple episodes ago. Marlon Humphrey is just not playing as well as he has been in recent years, which is crazy because you'd think that he'd be playing better now that he is the predominant number 1 cornerback on that team. Not that he wasn't before, but now that Marcus Peters isn't there, I don't know what's going on with him. But Joe Burrow, they've invested everything into him. And I don't want to hear they should have drafted Penei Sewell over Jamar Chase, because when you have a quarterback wide receiver connection like these two have, I think it's safe to say they're on par with like Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams at this point. Like, their level of chemistry, their level of connection is above everybody else. And when your offensive line is only giving up 1 sack to this good of a front seven, I mean, it masks everything that you should have been, drafting offensive linemen with your high picks. It doesn't make sense.
Do you guys think if we swap Joe Burrow and Baker Mayfield, we put Joe Burrow on the Browns and put Baker Mayfield on the Bengals, how do these 2 teams look right now?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That is a good question. I would say, I actually think would it be as different? I don't think it would be a crazy difference because, Baker hasn't, the Browns have just had a ton of injuries in the first place. So they're a tough team to, play for in the first place at this point. I don't know. I think they would have similar. I think Joe Burrow might have them off to a better record. I think like a game or 2, but I don't think it would be crazy different at this point.
I think the Bengals offense would take a hit there because of the chemistry between Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. But as for like the Browns, I don't know if it'd make a huge difference because that team is still going to run through Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt through the run game. So it's going to take away from Joe Burrow's abilities there.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think it would be too much different. I don't think either of those guys would make a huge, phenomenal difference for either of those teams. I don't think Baker would necessarily drag down the Bengals a lot, and I don't think Joe Burrow would elevate the Browns quite that much.
Yeah. So basically, it's this Bengals team is just a classic case of we didn't think that they were gonna come out this early and this quick and be this potent of an offense because is Joe Burrow saving Zach Taylor's job right now? I feel like he is. He's gotta be.
I don't want to completely take credit from Zach Taylor because I think that obviously like he's benefiting from Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase's connection, but I think that this team seems very well coached right now. They seem like they know what they're doing. They're going out there and they're communicating well. The defense is playing very well. The offense is playing very well. They're just hitting on all cylinders right now. And I don't think you can say that Zach Taylor hasn't been a proponent of any of that.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. All right, let's move on to the most recent Sunday night football game between the San Francisco 49ers and the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts win 30-18, I believe. I don't have the score. Yeah, 38-18. So Jake, what did you notice in this game? What are your takeaways?
Yeah, I just want to say that Elijah Mitchell looked really good to start the game. He looks like he's back and fully healthy. Jimmy Garoppolo sucks. I don't know if you saw my very in-depth.
Oh, it was a great video. Great video.
I really worked hard on that. I crunched the numbers. I watched a ton of film. But yeah, Jimmy sucks. I don't know. It's kind of laughable at this point that we thought he was going to be the heir apparent to Tom Brady. I mean, just a couple of years ago, he was the most prized trade target in the league. Like people were willing to give up he ultimately got traded for a second round pick, but I'm sure people would have given up maybe multiple first round picks to get him at that time. That's how much his value was heightened. Like everybody wanted this guy. But yeah, the 49ers, listen, Trey Lance didn't do much better when he was in there. So the 49ers just got to ride this out until Trey Lance is ready for the NFL, which he clearly isn't at this point. He's very raw. We all knew this coming out of North Dakota State, where he only had 300 pass attempts in college, which is ridiculously low. I think I think the average is like 600. So he had half of that. So this man needs some snaps. He needs to, be developed a little bit. The Colts, Carson Wentz is having a great season. He really is. It's really nice to see this. I think we can firmly say that Frank Reich had a lot to do with his success in Philadelphia, a lot more than we thought he did. It's just nice to see. I kind of had drank some of that Carson Wentz haterade over the last couple of years in Philly. I was kind of dogging him a little bit, but just to see him kind of come back from all these injuries, to start playing like we knew he could play because this man had all the talent in the world, probably a top 5-7 talent in all of football when it comes to just the things he can do. Frank Reich is a great head coach. I don't think he gets talked about enough for how good of a coach he really is, and showing with this team right now. I think the Colts, hopefully they can go on a little bit of a run here and really show what kind of team they actually are. Cause I don't think any of us thought this is a team that would end the season with a losing record, even though they started with a losing record.
Yeah.
The 49ers are going to be kind of middle of the pack. They'll probably finish third in the NFC West. Seahawks are at the basement right now. But other than that, I mean, this game just showed me that, playing in a rainstorm in California, which they've been in a drought for, I don't even know how fucking long they've been in a drought for. Yeah. So just crazy conditions for California. But this just showed me that the Colts are kind of catching their stride right now. Carson Wentz is having a much bounce back year. And the quarterback situation is going to be a little rough for the 49ers until Trey Lance gets his shit together. That's kind of my takeaways from this game.
Yeah, you guys know that I've been basically a Colts truther up until this point, and I still feel strongly about that to an extent. I like everything that Jake was saying about Carson Wentz. I feel like he's looked obviously very good so far this season and has stepped up in this offense as opposed to the Eagles offense, which doesn't look very good at all right now. And I think that he is a talented quarterback, and I think he can continue to perform at a high level. He's got a couple boneheaded plays here and there. He had several turnover-worthy plays in this game, but didn't end up turning the ball over, which was good. But Jonathan Taylor, man, Jonathan Taylor is a
guy.
beast. Yeah, an absolute dog. I think he's got like the second best running back production right now, aside from obviously Derrick Henry. Which is crazy because they're both in the same division. We've got that matchup coming up again here soon. But that is something that worries me about the Colts. They go up against the Titans again here soon. Derrick Henry played well the first time that they met up, if I remember correctly. And they didn't do well against Elijah Mitchell. And I'm not taking anything away from Elijah Mitchell, but he ran all over them. He had over 100 yards. And if you think that Derrick Henry isn't going to do the same, you are out of your mind. So that's definitely something that the Colts need to work on. Darius Leonard is looking like he's emerging as a Defensive Player of the Year award candidate because he's got like 8 turnovers himself right now. He looks really good. He's picking it up. But the rest of the defense needs to follow suit. And I think that this Colts team could continue to be good. As far as the 49ers go, I like everything that Jake was saying. I think that the 49ers are going to struggle throughout the remainder of the season. Do you guys think that Kyle Shanahan is part of the problem? And if he is, how much of the problem do you think that he is?
I was going to make a big point of that. I feel like Kyle Shanahan is the only coach that just gets a free pass every single year because of how great of an offensive mind he is. And I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here, Jake. I just want to, because I got the stats pulled up.
Go ahead.
It's incredible to me how Kyle Shanahan gets no blame for the 49ers struggles. Since he's been there in 2017, they went, 6-10, 4-12. They had that lone Super Bowl run. I'll give him that. 13-3. They had an amazing team. 6-10, and now they're off to a 2-4 start in those years. All right, with how great of an offensive mind Kyle Shanahan is. 2017, they ranked 20th in points, 21st in 2018. They ranked second in 2019, 21st in 2020, and right now they ranked 19th. So at what point do we start looking at the head coach of this team and start putting some of the blame on him? Like, I would put a lot of blame on Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think he's a quarterback that could get it done. He showed it in the Super Bowl a few years ago. He's been showing it really since the 49ers, since he's been there. But it's weird because the 49ers do better with him than without him, which is just a whole nother weird aspect to this team. But man, I think we need to start putting some blame on Kyle Shanahan. He cannot go unscathed with just 5 years, other than that lone Super Bowl run, I guess 4 years then, of just mediocrity. And this team is better than its record shows. And I know injuries are playing a lot into it this season. But you know what? Every team deals with injuries, and every team has to, play through adversity. And this team just hasn't been able to do that the past couple of years. So Kyle Shanahan needs to be on the hot seat after this week.
I just want to say one thing. It kind of looks good for him, though, that he was the lone proponent. It sounded, from all the reports coming out of the 49ers draft room, it sounded like he was one of the only people that saw Mac Jones and was like, I want this guy. Because Mac Jones he has always dealt with Mac Joneses. When he was in Houston at the beginning of his career, it was Matt Schaub he was bringing to a Pro Bowl. When he was in Washington, he had the Kirk Cousins type that Kirk Cousins had a Pro Bowl type year. Everywhere he's gone, he's had that type of quarterback that kind of Mac Jones is. Matt Ryan. That's the other one. Yeah, Matt Ryan.
Like he had an MVP year.
MVP season, went to the Super Bowl. So like, what would this offense be like, knowing how good Mac Jones is now? Who could have seen this coming? Oh my God, it's not. I don't know who would have seen that Mac Jones is going to be a good NFL quarterback. But it just kind of, I wonder if Kyle Shanahan is walking down the hallways or looking at his scouts in meetings, just kind of like every week that Mac Jones goes by and puts himself in the Rookie of the Year conference and just looks so good, and it's just like, we could have had this guy. Like, we could have had this. It kind of, I don't know. It kind of looks good for him. I think a Super Bowl buys you 3 years as a head coach. I think that's so. I mean,
Doug Peterson, not Doug Peterson,
but the Philly's a whole different. That's a different animal in Philadelphia. They go all this time without a Super Bowl, and then you get them one, they forget it immediately. It's like, oh my God. But yeah, Kyle Shanahan. He's a wizard with the run game. We could say that he's pretty much established that now. He can
right now. They're still the best rushing offense in the league.
Yeah, I mean, he could take any running back and just give him 1,000 yards. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
I'm convinced he can do that. I mean, Raheem Mostert was nothing special. Elijah Mitchell, nobody knew about this guy. So I mean, we know what he could do with that. And I think he was just waiting for that quarterback that he could institute the offense he finally wanted. He could institute that Atlanta offense that went to the Super Bowl, institute the Washington offense that, got Kirk Cousins to the Pro Bowl, got Kirk Cousins paid in Minnesota, institute all these, the offense that he wants to run. And just now he needs to wait. And I don't think Kyle Shanahan will fully be held accountable until Trey Lance is fully developed. And we know how that pans out. And if, because now whenever, you always hear about head coaches with the new quarterback kind of being an anchor baby, it's kind of like, well, you can't really blame me until we see how this guy pans out. You can't, it buys them a couple of years, unless you're Jeff Fisher. But I feel like you're being a little harsh on Kyle Shanahan, because Kyle Shanahan, he called, like, people around the league call him mini Belichick. Like, this is a guy that, like, he has crazy ideas that we see a bunch of head coaches steal from him. I think he is an offensive mastermind, and I just think he's been in the tough situation of, he doesn't have a number one corner now. He lost Richard Sherman. He lost Ahkello Witherspoon. So they're dealing with the cornerback issues, dealing with the injuries.
Nick Mullins was his quarterback for most of the season last year. I mean, he played with basically full second string team last season.
Exactly. So I just feel like he hasn't had the resources to put his, full scheme and full master plan into place. So that's kind of my thing with Kyle Shanahan.
I think that's fair. I just don't, it just doesn't sit right with me that Kyle Shanahan is absolved of any sort of blame.
No, I think that he deserves part of it. I think that it's unfair that all of the blame is just on Jimmy Garoppolo at all times. I'm sure that doesn't help him in his play when, one, he's injured fairly often, and two, when they don't play well, all of the blame is on him. And then when they do play well and they pull out a decent win, Kyle Shanahan or their running back gets all of the love.
Yeah. I'm with that. As for my takeaways from the game, I mean, you guys pretty much said it. Jonathan Taylor, best Wisconsin running back all time, 2-time Doak Walker Award winner, one of the greatest college running backs of all time. For being honest, I could just gush about Jonathan Taylor all day. I love him. Can't wait to go see him versus the Bills in a couple weeks from now. He's looking like a top 5 running back, and it's everything you expected drafting him out of Wisconsin a few years ago. Michael Pittman is a number 1 wide receiver now. And did you guys see his touchdown catch? That was the most, it was the most Madden spectacular catch, in-game catch I've ever seen. Like, it was crazy. The way he broke the tackle right after catching it, going up and getting it. It was literally out of Madden. And I had him starting on one of my fantasy teams, so I loved that. This 49ers team is just seems to be always injured. I will give them that the past couple years, especially. And George Kittle not being there, some of their key pieces not being there, Raheem Mostert's out for the whole season, it's going to build up. And I think we all expected more out of this 49ers team. But we're not going to be able to see them perform that well with all these injuries on that team. All right, let's move into our next segment, guys. It is spooky season. We are 5 days away from Halloween. So let's talk about some of the scariest players to go up against, the coaches to go up against, and we have a little fun segment at the end there. Which player is most likely to survive a horror movie? So, Jake, we'll start with the players here. What player do you have as being the scariest to go up against?
All right. I feel like this is a given. Like, I feel like I'm taking your guys' choice here. It's Aaron Donald. I mean, this guy, you can't, the guy's 6'1", built like a brick shithouse. Like, you can't move this man. Like, if Aaron Donald was running at me, and I don't know how offensive linemen do this, but I would run for my life. I'm glad I'm not playing offensive line in the NFL, and especially not the NFC West. Yeah, exactly. It's terrifying. Aaron Donald, he trains. I know they're rubber knives, but he still, regardless, trains with he trains with a knife person in the offseason. That's insane. This is the most his biceps have biceps. This is the most terrifying man in the NFL, bar none.
Yeah, I like that. And I knew that somebody was going to say Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
We none of us could not say Aaron Donald. So I went with somebody else. And I went with a guy that is he seems like the nicest guy, but on the field, absolutely terrifying. JJ Watt is a terrifying human being, huge. And then when his nose gets to bleeding and stuff, and he's just got the blood running down his face and he's on the other side from you. Yeah. One of the scariest players in NFL history, in my opinion.
I'm going to go offense here. We talk about probably one of the most elusive quarterbacks, if not the most elusive quarterback of all time. Taylor Heineke for the Washington football team. Now, let me get out of here. No, Lamar Jackson, man, you can't game plan for him. You can't. I mean, I know he's had a couple losses, this past week against the Bengals, but you can't stop the guy. I don't know what sort of game plan you go into the week with, but it's got to be something crazy abstract, because you let him get past the line of scrimmage, he's gone. He's gone. You can't open field tackle him because he's too elusive. He's just gonna juke you right by you. I actually wanted to bring this up earlier. This past Ravens Bengals game, you saw how Jamar Chase had like the spin move touchdown for like 50 yards. Do you guys remember when Lamar Jackson had the spin move touchdown against the Bengals? It was reminiscent of that. That pretty much won him the MVP right there and then. But Lamar Jackson, how could you not pick him? I mean, the guy is ridiculous, and he's only going to get better. He's still so young, already has an MVP under his belt. He's going to be an all-time great, if not already.
When you said offense, I honestly thought you were going to say Derrick Henry. I thought somebody might.
Yeah.
Because have you guys ever seen his face when he's running?
Dude,
his eyes are like this big. Mm-hmm. He's like smiling. It's horrifying.
He has a cross, like nose piercing. I've never seen anybody with that, and if I don't want to ever see anybody with that, because that's
sends you to God.
Yeah. You know right then and there, like, damn, I know who I'm messing with here.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to coaches. Gage, why don't you start us off?
My coach for this one, and there's another guy that I know is going to be a big one, and I'm sure one of you guys is going to say him, so I went with somebody else. Mike Zimmer, to me, just looks pissed off all the time. They could be winning the game, absolutely blowing a team out, and this guy looks like he is going to ream you as soon as you get to the sideline. And plus, on top of that, with him, I feel like being on the hot seat this season, I would be terrified to be around this guy at all times.
Yeah. I know who you were talking about. I'm going to go somebody else. I'm going to go Brian Flores. Brian Flores, I have yet to ever see with a smile on his face. He's just always looks pissed off. Go and look up any press conference he's ever done. He literally just like that the entire time. I don't know if this man has ever smiled in his life. I mean, he is running this Dolphins team, so given he doesn't have much to smile about, I'll give him that much. But like, it's terrifying. Obviously, he's a Belichick disciple, so they all kind of have that demeanor. I was also thinking about Joe Judge up in New York. I mean, he's just screaming at refs every week. But Brian Flores, not to mention this guy is jacked. Like, he is jacked. So Brian Flores scares the shit out of me, and I don't know if I would want to play for him.
You can't go with the wrong answer here, but you guys somehow did go with the wrong answers here. It's Bill Belichick. Come on. I
don't want to take the obvious choice.
Yeah, right, I was letting you have it.
That's fair. That's fair. Bill Belichick, I would not want to play for. I mean, you see Tom Brady having fun in Tampa Bay. He's allowed to go on social media. He's allowed to, show some personality. He wasn't doing that in New England. You know why? Because of Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick was not having any of that shit. Could you imagine if Antonio Brown went on Facebook Live if he was on the Patriots with Bill Belichick? Could you imagine? He'd be cut. Doesn't matter how good he is. He would be cut. Bill Belichick, everything. You want to talk about a coach that's never smiled before? I don't know if I've ever seen Bill Belichick smile. And I find it so funny that he's in some of the Subway commercials because it's such like a random pairing. Like what the fuck am I watching? Yeah, Bill Belichick, hands down, scariest to go up against, scariest to play for, the whole nine, really. I mean,
honorable mention to Mike Tomlin though, after he was yelling at reporters about him potentially wanting the USC job.
Also honorable mention to Mike Vrabel too. He's
God,
jacked.
yeah.
Mhm.
I didn't even think about Mike Vrabel.
I had
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel in mind too, because he was literally like a terrifying linebacker
Yes.
for the Patriots. Like
Mhm.
this guy, but he's so like when you see videos of him now, he's always like jumping up for joy and stuff.
Mhm.
Like that's why I kind of didn't pick him as the scariest. Wasn't it? By the way, going back to your Antonio Brown, wasn't Antonio Brown on the Patriots for like a week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he wore
He
number
was.
17. It was
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
That was cool.
That's gonna be a weird trivia question about like 20 years.
Yeah.
You're gonna see pictures of it and you're gonna think it was like a jersey swap or something.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
Ocho Cinco too. Ocho Cinco was on the Patriots for the preseason.
So weird thinking back.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Now the player most likely to survive a horror movie. Shout out the new Halloween movie that's coming out pretty soon. I'm not gonna watch that. Jake, who you got?
Fucking making those.
They do. I'm sick of it.
Too many.
I'm going Myles Garrett here. He tends to be very resourceful with weapons. So I feel like in a horror movie that would serve him well. Plus, not to mention as jacked as you can get. He literally got drug tested for not wearing sleeves by the league. So he's also just as freak of an athlete as you can get. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Myles Garrett for surviving any horror movie you put him in.
Definitely a good one. I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
My thought process was picking a guy that is pretty smart and somewhat athletic, at least. And this guy just stuck out to me like a sore thumb. I was like, this is the guy. This is the guy that like you're in the horror movie and he shows up to rescue you. Ryan Fitzpatrick. Absolutely. I mean, Harvard, he went to Harvard, obviously an intelligent guy. The beard, can't go wrong with that. It just makes me feel safe every time I look at it. And he's just a freak of nature. He's going to get you through whatever situation you need him to get you through. I'm relying on Ryan Fitzpatrick 10 times out of 10 if I'm in a horror movie.
Okay. I went down a similar route. I don't think you guys are going to like my answer. But I'm got to go with 12, Aaron Rodgers. Let me explain.
Of course.
He's going to pull out. He's not going to kill them. He's not going to do anything. He's going to sit there, do some Buddha rituals now that he has his long hair. He's going to, go out to Maui, Hawaii. He's going to have his own safe zone there. He's going to be meditating. I don't know what he's going to do, but like psychologically, he's like that. He's going to find a way. Like you said with Myles Garrett, Aaron Rodgers is resourceful too. And like you said with Ryan Fitzpatrick, Aaron Rodgers, he won Jeopardy. He hosted Jeopardy too. He's a smart guy. He's going to find a way to win. He's going to find a way to survive. And what we should have made a scenario here. I don't know. What is it? Zombies? What is it? Killers? Like,
I think my first thought was zombies. Yeah.
Zombies?
I thought zombies too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Then zombies. I definitely think Aaron Rodgers could survive that.
Yeah. He's like, if the Packers were the horror movie this offseason, he did a great job. Like the place where you don't want to go, the scary house or whatever.
Look at him right now.
Yeah.
Look at
Aaron
him right
Rodgers just completely stayed away from it
There you
throughout
go.
the entire movie.
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. If Aaron Rodgers could survive the Green Bay Packers, he definitely could survive in an apocalypse or hell like this right now. So, there it is.
Oh my gosh.
The whole time he'll just be pissed off that the secondary character came into his job.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh,
all right.
Man.
Well, that's a great segment. So we're talking about an apocalypse. Let's talk about how the Green Bay Packers are playing zombies for wide receivers this upcoming game. It's the Green Bay Packers at the undefeated Arizona Cardinals. By the way, this is only the third time in NFL history where two teams are going up against each other on a 6-game win streak. This game kind of is historic, but kind of isn't at the same time. I'm going to give my thoughts in a second here. Gage, who you got winning this game? What are your takeaways? What's your preview like?
With Devontae Adams on the COVID list, and then they announced today that Allen Lazard is also on the COVID list. You're down to, I think MVS is also out. Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I'm not there. They designated him to return. It's unlikely that he comes back on Thursday, I believe. Okay, because of the short week. So you're looking at Randall Cobb, Bobby Tunyon, Aaron Jones. You still got a little bit there, but I'm not fully fully confident in that. And especially with the O-line issues and injuries and stuff like that. And you got Chandler Jones coming back from being out. And you got JJ Watt, and you got Isaiah Simmons on the other side. I got to take the Cardinals in this one. It's unfortunate, all the injuries, all the COVID list stuff and all that, but Cardinals. And my score prediction, I think I'm going to go 31-17 in this. I think the Cardinals kind of start to run away with it early, and then the Packers just won't be able to catch up. And my player of the game, give me JJ Watt to have his first like big game of the season. I think Chandler Jones is going to be back, and I think him coming off that other side is going to open up the window for JJ Watt to get in there.
Yeah, this is unfortunate for the Packers. They're dropping like flies, it seems like, over the past week or so. Man, it's hard for me to pick against Aaron Rodgers, but the image of Aaron Rodgers throwing 2 Hail Marys to, who was it, Jake Kumaro and whoever else,
Jeff Janis,
or James Abbrederis.
Jared Abbrederis. It was
Jared
Jeff Janis that caught it. But
Jeff Janis, yeah. Just burned in my head for the last time he was. I don't know if that was the last time, but just for the last time I can remember.
Last time he was in Arizona,
last time he was playing Arizona. So that's kind of tough for me to pick against, because that Arizona Cardinals team was really, really good. I think they ended up going to the NFC Championship game that year.
Yep. Getting blown out.
Yeah, exactly. By the Panthers that ended up, jump ball in the Super Bowl. But it just proves to me that, man, Aaron Rodgers can do a lot with literally nothing. He's been doing it his entire career. He's still got Randall Cobb, who's got a good, personal relationship. They got a good chemistry. I don't know, something about Aaron Rodgers in Arizona. I know they didn't end up winning that game, right? Then that was the playoff game that Larry Fitzgerald won in overtime. But man, I got to go with Aaron Rodgers. I can't pick against Aaron Rodgers. I feel like this Cardinals team is not a team that's going to be, 7-0 now? 7-0, 8-0.
They're 7-0. Yep.
They're 7-0. I don't think they're going to be 8-0. I feel like this is a prime position. This is a trap game for the Cardinals. All these players going down for the Packers. They think they might have it a little bit easier, but it's Aaron Rodgers, so you got to prepare like it's like the quarterback that he is, because he can utilize any weapons. The defense, he's still got some good pieces on defense. Jair Alexander is always going to be tough, and I can't. It ultimately comes down to me not picking against Aaron Rodgers, so I'm going to take the Packers in this one. Luke, I'm on your side for this game.
I like that. Hey, you don't know who I'm picking yet.
Come on. Oh, player of the game for me. I don't know if I said it enough, but it's going to be Aaron Rodgers.
And what about score?
I don't know. I think he's going to need to do some late game magic in this one. Give me the Packers 27-24.
All right. In this game, the Packers are going to be playing without David Bakhtiari, Zadarius Smith, Devontae Adams, Josh Myers, Jair Alexander, Alan Lazard, Preston Smith, Kevin King, thank God, and potentially Marquez Valdez-Scantling. The only advantage that the Packers have in this game, and I think is what's tipping me to pick the Packers in this game, spoiler alert, is Matt LaFleur. I think Matt LaFleur is far and beyond the coach that Cliff Kingsbury is. And I know that the Cardinals are 7-0, and I know that they've had a top 5 offense. I know that they've had a top 5 defense. And their whole roster is gelling together extremely well. I think Matt LaFleur can develop a game plan around the strengths of this team. And the strength of this team is Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones. The Packers under Matt LaFleur are 5-0 without Devontae Adams, guys. And you know why? It's because it forces Aaron Rodgers to play quarterback, okay? The past couple of years, I'll be the first to admit, it's been Devontae Adams or nothing for Aaron Rodgers pretty much. And you know what? If it works every time, if it's broke, don't fix it, go to him every single time. But in these games, he's going to be forced to spread the ball around. He's going to have to find Robert Tunney. He's going to have to play with Marquez Valdez-Scantling, with Equanimeous St. Brown, potentially Randall Cobb. It really sucks that Alan Lazard is missed out, or is going to miss this game, because he really turned it on in the last game against the football team. He became pretty much their number one wide receiver towards the end there because they couldn't find Devontae. He's obviously not a bigger loss than Devontae is, but just in the scheme of things, it sucks not to have him. If the Packers can force turnovers in this game, I think they could win. Because if they're not forcing turnovers, I don't think so. The Packers have quietly had a top 5 defense this season, which I never thought those words would ever come out of my mouth. Joe Barry, their defensive coordinator, is also going to be missed out or lost for this game. He also is on the COVID list, so he's not going to be able to call plays. It's going to be Joe Gray, I want to say, their defensive backs coach. The key to winning this game is going to be through their defense. Devondre Campbell is surprisingly the highest graded middle linebacker this season. He's been having a resurgence in Green Bay. He's leading this defense to bounds I didn't know were possible. And it's crazy that they're doing it without Zadarius Smith, without Jair Alexander, but they still have their 2 great safeties. And Rashawn Gary has been having all-pro type season, I think. He's generating more pressure than Khalil Mack. I'm going with Aaron Rodgers in this game. I've been talking forever now. The Packers are playing with house money here. Nobody expects them to win. Everybody's saying, oh, it's another freebie for the Arizona Cardinals. By the way, there's no freebies in the NFL. The Cardinals are legit. They're not the Steelers from last year in no way, shape, or form. They are a legit team. But I'm going with the Packers here. I don't know if that's bias. I don't know. It's because I believe in Aaron Rodgers, but I think they're going to get it done. My player of the game is going to be Aaron Rodgers because who the hell else is it going to be? Aaron Jones. I mean, they haven't really looked his way this entire season. Honestly, he had that 4 touchdown game a couple of weeks ago against Detroit. And other than that, it's kind of been subpar. For some reason, Matt LaFleur and this Packers offense has been stagnant and they just don't like running the ball. And when they do, Aaron Dillon and then AJ Jones. AJ Dillon fumbled 2 times last week. All right, we got to wrap this up. Yeah, give me the Packers. Give me them 27-24. They win by a game-winning field goal. I just have a feeling, and they haven't played to their highest potential yet, and their team has been injured all season, and they're still 6-1.
You picked the same score and same player of the game as Jake.
Did I really?
You did. 27-24 and Aaron Rodgers.
Is that allowed? All right, I'll take a different score.
No, I like it because that way we go down together if we miss.
Oh, okay. All right.
You guys are in
like
agreement.
that.
I won't argue. I mean, I'm
like
going to pick the Cardinals anyway. So.
All right, I'll go Aaron Jones at least, but I do like 27-24. I'll go Aaron Jones as player of the game, even though I just said that he wouldn't be. Yeah, give me Aaron Jones. All right, that is going to do it for episode 29 of the Totally Unqualified podcast. I still can't believe that we're up to episode 29. We're going to be at 50 and then 100 and then a million sooner rather than later. If you're listening to us, which of course you are, make sure to go download the Overtime app. It's sports meets social media. They have events, they have polls, they have everything you want out of a media app. They have it. It's pretty much like Twitter, but just all sports. And we all use it. We all join in some of the events that they have. So make sure to go download that. It supports us and it helps us bring you more content.
Yeah. And then of course, speaking of socials, if you're listening to us and you want to keep up with us when we we don't have a new podcast episode out, you're all caught up, whatever the case may be. On TikTok, I'm Extra Points. Luke is Football Fan Zone. And then Jake is Jake Maltese 3. Pretty easy to remember for him. And then follow us on all of our Totally Unqualified socials as well. We've got a great Instagram. We got Twitter. We got TikTok. Anywhere you want to follow us and keep up with us, we have it.
Yeah, guys. And if you did not hear, we did just get to 1,000 downloads. So we want to thank you guys so much for that.
Thank you.
And yes, can't tell you guys how much that means to us. So for the 1,000 downloads, we are going to be answering all as many of your questions as we can. Some of them are going to be making their way onto the podcast for a little Q&A section of the podcast. So be sure to DM us on our Totally Unqualified Instagram account or Twitter account. So that's at Totally Unqualified Pod on Instagram, at TU Sports Podcast on Twitter. And we'll see you guys in the next one.